that way it is impossible to remember that this is my citation one. Now there are thousands of citations at the end of the day. How many of you are presenting all your citations? So how can we remember that? Okay, so let us start with the second day afternoon session. And in this session, we will have presentations on literature published after Second World War, around after 1950 up till 2000. This is the evening slot of the session, and we have presentations by these students. Let us have a look at their topics also. Upasana will be first to make presentation on the religious meaning in Waiting for Godot. Capital W is missing from the title. Trushali will read on repetition of the past in F. Scott Fitzgerald, and is it that? This is? Acha, this is okay. Oh, I think I have. Let me see this. Here it is. Okay. By mistake, this one is selected. Yes, Upasana will read on the religious meaning, and then Trushali will make presentation on use of repetitive dialogues to raise existential questions in Waiting for Godot, followed by Rinkal's presentation on psychoanalytical reading of characters in Waiting for Godot. Okay. Riddhi will be the next to read on title analysis of An Artist of the Floating World. Rajeshvariba on George Orwell's 1984 and its relevance in contemporary society. In today is not appropriate. Pooja will read on dystopian varieties. Okay? And Payal's presentation will be on existentialism in Waiting for Godot, followed by Nirali's presentation on dystopia versus utopia. Mansi will present on 1984 by George Orwell, A Tale of Dystopian Society. And the last one for the day will be by Insiyafatema on role of technology in the novel 1984. Okay, so let us start with the first presentation.
Good afternoon, all of you. My name is Upasana Goswami. Today I will present my topic, the religious meaning in Waiting for Godot. Here is my also information. These are the key points of the presentation. Introduction of presentation. Waiting for Godot is a conversational and remarkable play written by the Irish author Samuel Beckett. The play written for a Godot belongs to the theater of exile, and it is a part of the modernist period of literature, existential philosophers and playwrights, both by Their work depicted the problem of existence, the absurdity of the life, and the question of God. Waiting for Godot is the classic work of theater of the absurd. The play seems absurd, but with deep religious meaning, the text tries to explore the truth in a four parts of God and man, breaking the agreement, liquidation and implication and waiting for celebration, religious imagery in waiting for the golden. The human necessity of unified explanation of a word has always been satisfied by religious and creator of a clear philosophical system to make the human life meaningful. The nature desire to get to know and understand work in its most hidden spreads was fulfilled by religious documents about the existence of God, which argument meaningful contingency of a human life. The play has very strong evidence of a theater of existentialism, but still it can be related with the religious interpretation. The main part deals with the religious side of waiting for the goal, and trying to figure if the play is a religious or ethics, depending on the religious allegory presented in this play. Myth and mythology. Myth is a kind of story of rudimentary narrative sequence, normally traditional and anonymous thought, which given a culture ratified its social customs or accounts for the origin of the human and nature, usually in a supernatural or boldly imaginative terms. Myths feature supernatural episodes that seek to explain nature phenomena in order to give human some kind of a prescription in a more comic level. It amplifies human culture and society to a superhuman or a godly level. Although we have such a nature, they are still aspected as a both true and a strange God and man. Keep waiting for the borders. More Vladimir and Esther were on stage, and Godot who is away from the vision of the audience. We are the certain symbolic relationship between them suggests that of a God and man. Godot has a similarity with God. The boy of messenger in the play is from Godot's play, and he is the only one who has seen Godot. Here is an example of the modern conversation. The Latin case says, he a beard, my God, Mr. Godot, boy, yes, sir, Latin, fair or black, boy. I think it's white, sir. Latin, please have mercy on us breaking the contract. Keeping the promise is the theme is the Old Testament and the New Testament. There are five agreements with God and man. God would gradually complete the plan of salvation for men if men follow the contract. There are agreements on Noah. Agreement with Agreement with Abraham, covenant with Abraham, covenant with says, covenant with there is the connection of the peace and the blessing. So gift and the blessing, for God can ensure man to live a comfortable life. But why man is reduced to waiting for a solution? It means that the two camps and the two camps are waiting for God to give a state according to the promise, but God does not come. Here is an example of a example question you can see. breaking the contract in this example, different and your implication, human being lost the protection of God and become spiritually instead of nonsense with funny movements working their water of the heart. They are looking for the salvation by God. However, it is difficult to repair the relationship between the man and God. God will detest man for doing a man loyalty. Thus, what human being is to do is to be repent and pray. God created a man according to what he is like, showing love Genesis of the Holy Bible, God said, let us make a man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have domination over the fish of the sea, and over the food of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth. Waiting for the salvation. Waiting is the process God added for a man's salvation. Suffering means testing the life. Human beings learn uh, now, thus, in the process, in the act one, the two friends can be seen to have death and lucky is a bit victimized by a Ozo boy, following Godot leads a life with love. But in act two, the two friends sincerely embrace and also become particularly depend on a lucky. Furthermore, the trend has to also show to frequently fertility among the people. Human beings are changing toward what tend to be. Although water does not come, hope is still there. So we had three in Act 1, has a few leaves in Act 2. Thus, there are only few leaves. After there are the embodiment of a life, waiting for a God to express the living condition of the Western people who have been out of contact with God and show that it put together relief of the situation. Beckett expressed his sincere thought of human existence in the play, which is a similarly observed. Conclusion. Franklin Beckett's play, Waiting for a God, we can observe it is a closely tied to existentialism ideology of the late modernism, not by what it says, rather by what it doesn't say. Perhaps the main thing among what is the don't say is to scorn the religious idea of waiting somebody who will come to help people at the end of the world. However, information is due to the presence of the late modernist existentialism ideology, which silenced it at a certain point to reveal the truth is essential that waiting for a God is an allegory about faith in a struggle for a solution. Critical allegory of a belief. Waiting for a God is a critical allegory and a religious faith. God is a symbol for a God. God is a symbol for a God. Religious interpretation points and Vladimir and Esteban as a humanistic waiting for a God. Here is my worst title. Thank you. My topic of today's presentation is use of repetitive dialogues to raise existential questions in Waiting for Godot. These are my personal informations. These are the points which I'm going to discuss in the presentation. Let's first begin with the introduction of Waiting for Godot. The Waiting for Godot is a play written by Samuel Beckett and published in 1952, which is absurd play in nature. The play is the conversation between Vladimir and Astragons, who are waiting for the arrival of a mysterious god named Godot, who never come till the end of the play. The In the play there is continuous repetition of dialogues and behavior of these two central characters, and which raises questions, existential questions, like sorry, this is grammatic. Why are we repeating the same thing every day? Why we are here? What are we supposed to do here? uh, Use of repetitive dialogues in Waiting for Godot. So there is continuous repetition of dialogues in both the acts of the play. The play is can be categorized as as the absurd play. The term the theater of absurd was coined by Martin Aslins, in which he talks about the nature of the absurd play, like in which world is seen as an incomprehensible place. It presents existential questions. In between there is a kind of comic relief, or rather absurdity, and it goes to the great desperation or hopelessness. I have taken some of the dialogues from the text Waiting for Godot. So, first we'll talk about desperation versus hope. There is hope as well as hopelessness, which is described in the play parallel or simultaneously. The messenger boy in each act, at the end of each act, says that Godot will come, and in the second act he says that he will surely come tomorrow. It gives a kind of hope that Godot will come tomorrow surely, but there is no sign of it. And by the conversation in the conversation between Vladimir and this messenger boy about the arrival of Godot, when the boy says that he will shortly come tomorrow, Vladimir has a kind of conversation with the boys that you came yesterday, but boys denies that I was not there yesterday. Who made you? And Vladimir becomes angry, or a kind of feel a kind of desperation, and tell them that he tell the boy that tell him you saw me, and that you saw me, you are sure you saw me, you won't come and tell me tomorrow that you never saw me. So here there is no hope as it was in the message of the boy, but rather here is a kind of desperation in this dialogue. But it's not Godot, it's not Godot, it's not Godot. Three times repetition of it's not Godot. When the boy when Lucky and Pozo came in the second and first act, this conversation happens, and that both the characters repeats the dialogue. When Vladimir says that it is not Godot, which was predicted by Astragon. So there is like breakdown of the hope that Godot has not came yet. This in the article, Godot, the non-negative nothingness, Aubrey Kubiak says that not only are the play's main character waiting for someone who never arrives, but they are depicted as utterly hopeless, and at a time preferring death to the tedious repetition of everyday life. So they are tired, and in between of the in the play we can see that they talks to die rather than repeating the same action every day. In the play, the conversation between Vladimir and Estragons many a times
plays a kind of comic role. Though if we'll read this play in a very linear manner, or without any kind of thing, in any kind of existential reading, we'll find that there is nothing but a comedy there. So, but in between the comic relief, there is a kind of absurdity of their dialogue. Why they are talking about this, why they are fighting all the time, and why they are again meeting with each other. That in the initial part of the act 1, when both the characters Vladimir as well as estragons repeat the same dialogues, it hurts, he want to know if it hurts. These dialogues can be interpreted in the way that they are waiting for Godot and it hurts them a lot. In act 1 there is a sequence where Estragons finds something out, who puts out his boot, and then he turns it upside down, shakes it, looks on the ground to see if anything has fallen out, finds something, fills inside it again, staring sightlessly before him. So in act 2 as well, the same thing happening, but with head. Vladimir takes off his hat, peers inside it, feels about inside it, shakes it, knocks on the ground, puts it on again. So both this act, if we'll see it simply, so we cannot find the essence of what is their purpose to doing that, and what is the questions of existence they are there, that is lying there. Now existential questions like why they are here, what are they doing, what are they doing, and what they are supposed to do. All these questions are lying in the these dialogues of the play, like nothing to be done. This sentence is being repeated a lot in both the acts. Like in if we'll see in existential way, we'll see that in human life we have nothing to do, right? Every time this dialogue, let's go, we can't, we are waiting for Godot. Here the forgetting nature of estragons plays a vital role. Even Lucky and Pozo, the messenger boy, all are forgetting except Vladimir. So this forgetting nature of of all the characters except Vladimir plays a vital role. Nothing is certain in the play, as it is told by Vladimir and estragons many times in the play. So nothing to be done and nothing is certain is a kind of existential questions which each and every human has in their mind. The forgetting nature, it can be also seen when the messenger boys in both the acts says that I don't know, he don't know anything, he just came and give the message that Godot will not come, he will surely come tomorrow. And in act 2 Vladimir repeats dialogues of act 1 spoken by the messenger boy, that you haven't you seen me, haven't you come yesterday, like that. In abandoning the empirical repetition and homosociality, Andrea L. Yates notes how existence of both the characters are interdependent. In this article, the writer is also talking about the relationship of Vladimir and estragons, and why they are seen each and every time together, though they left each other at night, but in the morning they meet each other. Vladimir and estragon's repetitive or rhythmic behavior and dialogue functions as both cause and effect, and constructs the only reality that these two characters knows, which produces their fundamental bond. The repetition in waiting for Godot helps to mark the quack to convince Vladimir and estragons that they do indeed exist, and to silence at least temporarily the meaninglessness of that existence. Though they exist, though they are doing everything, though they are talking, they are doing the things, but in that there is a complete meaninglessness of their existence. Even Albert Camus in the myth of Sisyphus explores the existential questions and purposelessness or meaninglessness of human condition by the character of Sisyphus, who is working whole day to pull the stone every day, the complete repetitive actions of his life. And Sisyphus and this Vladimir and Astragons, each and every human is repeating the same thing. In human day, we are waking up and then we sleep. The activities which is being conducted by each of us is nothing but nothing. There we can feel nothingness as being human. I would like to conclude my presentation the with an argument that in the play Waiting for Godot there is a desperation as well as a kind of comic relief in between, which leads to the question of our existence, and which shows that life is nothing but just repetition of the things of the same things every day, and we can never get the answers of these questions or can't do anything except keep living. So these are the works which I have cited in my presentation. Thank you. Now I'm open for questions.
Now you can say what is problem in the citation.
No sir, I have edited.
So then you,
I have edited it.
Trushali, how does the existential crisis reflect the situation of post-Second World War?
no, you are out from this studio, StreamYard.
Well, yes. May. Yeah. Well, I haven't included the post-World War situation in my presentation, but the existential question from the beginning of species until the end remains same. We cannot. As per my point of view, it is very much difficult to differentiate all these kind of post-World War or before World War, pre-World War conditions. But yes, there are lots of situations of human existence has been altered in a way, because this two World War one and two has a greater impact on human race, and we are facing very much problems because of that.
Error. Repetition. Error. Repetition.
Leaking or leaking.
I don't know.
Okay.
Trushali, my question is what kind of changes occur in the play if the elements of repetition might be lacking?
Well, the whole play is based on this repetition. If the repetition is not there, the play won't be considered as absurd play. We cannot be categorized as it absurd play, or we can't even categorized is the play in a play which raises a questions of human existence. The whole play is all about the repetition. If the characters are not doing repeatedly the thing what they are doing and what they are saying, then the play have not any kind of existence at all. So the whole play is all about repetition and existential questions as well as absurdity. So thank you so much.
In the morning, I have suggested that you better ask somebody that is the question grammatically correct or not, spelling error or grammatical correct. You should like, because that is also the learning, that how do we learn to write correct interrogative sentence. That is technical side of writing. How to ask question, that also is important. It should be based on the content. So you have to attentively listen the presentation, and you have to say that you have mentioned in so and so site like this. Can you explore more? Can you tell some? Based on that, you have to raise the question. So you are supposed to, why question is there? What is the purpose? So that you listen at least two presentations attentively. You are supposed to read or listen all, but I know you won't listen all. But at least two presentations you listen attentively. That is the purpose. So that's why there is a question. So if question is going out of range, then that is not our purpose. એવું નહીં કે નાટક કરવાનું છે તો કરી નાખીએ, પ્રશ્ન પૂછવાનો છે તો પૂછી નાખીએ. તો that not that you have to listen, and based on that you have to ask, then technically correct or not question is. So you have to ask. Now you will say અત્યારે અહીં બાજુમાં પૂછ્યું હોય તો બાજુ નહીં ના આવડતું હોય, પૂછવા જવું ક્યાં? ફ્રેન્ડ ને પૂછ્યું તો ખરું, પણ એને કીધું બરાબર છે જવા દે, એટલે જવા દીધું ઉપર. તો લેકિંગ નું લીકિંગ થઈ ગયું પછી. હા, બટ એ ન હોત તો પણ સાચું જ લખાત એની ગેરંટી નથી. No, but that also, then even if it was correct, then also it might be wrong. Right way of asking the question, that also એ મારે ઉદાહરણ યાદ રાખીને પછી યાદ કરાવવું પડશે કે જો હવે આમ થયું આવું. So if you don't agree with that, then I have to show again, pinpoint that કે જો આ પ્રશ્નમાં શું ભૂલ છે એ ફરી આઈડેન્ટિફાઈ કરો. એટલે એક ભૂલ કદાચ ચલો મશીનથી થઈ ગઈ ઓટો કરેક્શનમાં, પણ એ આમાં બીજી પણ ઘણી બધી ભૂલ હોય. એ ઓટો કરેક્શનની જ ભૂલ આઈ એમ નોટ ટોકિંગ અબાઉટ, but other mistakes also which might be happening. So you have to ask. So I suggested in the morning, you have right now chat GPT with you. You can ask that is this question grammatically correct? Then you will get the answer. Then you can copy and ask also. Or you can ask, this is the content, what can be appropriate question? Then you may get suggestion of 2-3 questions also. You may get, I don't know whether you will get or not. So પછી મારો કોલર નહીં પકડવાનો, કે આમાં તો નથી બતાવતા, બટ પછી એ તમારા ઉપર છે કઈ રીતે એની સાથે કામ લેવું એ. So that you have to see how this is. You can take help of that, and then you will see. You ask your question and you will see કે સાચો છે કે ખોટો છે grammatically, બધી પછી ખબર પડશે. તો Google Doc will correct spelling, but not everything. Interrogative sentence ના બધા જ પાસા એ પકડી નહીં શકે. એટલે તમે ત્યાં જઈને જોયું હોય તો એ ખાલી સ્પેલિંગ ભૂલ પકડે, તો પણ પછી ભૂલ તો આવે. એ તો કારણ કે લીકિંગ એ સાચો શબ્દ છે તો એ ભૂલ ન પકડે. ખોટો સ્પેલિંગ હોય તો એને તમારા મનની તો ખબર ન પડે કે તમારે લેકિંગ લખવું છે કે લીકિંગ લખવું છે. એ તો રાઈટ જ વર્ડ છે ને, તો એરર ન બતાવે. So that way you can take this help and try to see that can you frame proper question or not. If you are able to write proper question, no need of taking anybody's help. But it is seen that you are not able to, many of you are not able to write proper question, and you have enough time, like 5-7 minutes things are going on. So you can decide the things and frame the things in a proper way. The only thing you have to be attentively listening, then it will happen. Otherwise it will not happen. If you are not attentively, then it will not happen. Yes, you can start.
Everyone, I am Rinkal, and my today's topic is psychoanalytical reading of Waiting for Godot. If there is id somewhere, there must be ego as well, by Sigmund Freud. These are academic details. Introduction. Waiting for Godot is a play written by Irish playwright Samuel Beckett between October 9, 1948 to January 29, 1949. Acted at the Theatre de Babylon in Paris in 1953. It is tragicomedy in 2 acts. Beckett and Freud. Beckett and Freud both have studied man as he is. Freud by his scientific and psychological techniques, and Beckett as with his literary techniques. Both treat him uncommon. That Beckett and Freud both are treating man as uncommon, that beyond the powers of ordinary things. It is usually rather difficult to prove that Beckett is really concerned of classical disorders in Waiting for Godot. In Beckett's works, questions about mental reality are usually considered from the introspective point of view as his characters explore aspects of their own consciousness. Psychological theory of Freud. Sigmund Freud was founder of psychoanalysis, also first person who proposed the psychological personality theory. Three principles of thought process according to Freud. Id as pleasure principle and primary process of thought. Ego as the second process of thought, and ego and id, both the relation between them is one is the charioteer and another is a horse, that one is driving another. A superego is conscious almost, that there is iceberg theory by him, that in their consciousness is totally outside, and ego is floating between all of them. Characters. These are the characters who are I am going to do a psychoanalytical reading of them. Vladimir, Estragon, Pozo, Lucky, and Godot. That Vladimir and Estragon both are true themes in Waiting for Godot play, and Pozo and Lucky both are another characters who are coming in the another act. Godot is someone who never arrives, and he is the person who, he is the some kind of feature that never comes, or we don't know who he is. Traumatized people after war, that after post war there were some times where people were really very much traumatized and harming, they were very much in the stress, that one kind of trauma was lying in their mind. PM Wilson Churchill describes that the play shows the bitter lives of two tramps who seems that they escaped from their original residence. That Churchill says that he himself was a writer, and he told that both tramps are escaping from their reality. That the life of them is really very much bitter, and they are escaping from that difficulty of their lives. Widow, orphan, homeless people, all images of problems for the survival people to suffer not only physically but psychologically also. That these are the problems of post World War. That after the war happened, people were suffering by so many causes. That there were so many problems they have suffered, and not only physically, but it has a mental impact on all of them. Another, Vladimir and Estragon are so psychologically exhausted that even the process of thinking hurts them. We are in the danger of we are no in longer danger of thinking anymore. They are telling that there is no danger of thinking now, and the Godot is the imagination of mind. That in psychology there are such concepts that you will imagine someone who is coming to save you, and especially in the times when you are in the struggle, or you are stressed a lot. Tramps are so frustrated that they are unable to achieve anything that enhance their lives. They are always telling that no one comes, nothing happens, or that all is awful. That is the concept, that they are not able to achieve anything fruitful in their lives, rather than doing waiting and all that kind of things. Hope and anxiety. The absence of Godot presents a source of anxiety and hopeless to Vladimir and Estragon. Here, the Vladimir and Estragon are having some hope that one day Godot will arrive, and they will come to know that Godot is coming. Vladimir, we will hang ourselves tomorrow, unless Godot comes. Estragon, and if he comes, Estragon is asking if he will come, then Vladimir, we will be saved. Though he will come and we have already hanged ourselves, he will come and though he will save us. Psychological reading of characters in Waiting for Godot. Vladimir and Estragon. Yoga is a mental method of stress management. Here, that in many of the books and all kind of ancient sages are telling that yoga is somewhere the thing which reduces stress and your mental it enhances your mental health. Estragon. While waiting, Vladimir, we could do our exercises. Estragon, our movements. Vladimir, our elevations. Estragon, our relaxation. Vladimir, to warm us up. Estragon, to calm us down. Avoidance of symptoms. That let's hang ourselves immediately. That they are having such kind of symptoms, and though they are avoiding all that kind of things, that they are even not thinking that what is going to wrong in all that kind of process. Lucky and Pozo, psychological reading. Herman's concept of complex post-traumatic stress disorder is found in the totalitarian control over Lucky by Pozo. There is type second trauma, symptom alteration, extreme passively, and outbursts of the rage and Lucky's robopathology as the symptom of the psychological trauma. That robopathology is the one kind of thing that always, especially Lucky in the play, was his back was always bowing, and he never looks into anyone's eyes. He never makes eye contact to anyone, and mechanical behavior and automatic obedience, all things are that which reflects the trauma of Lucky, that he is suffering from that kind of mental trauma. Addiction to trauma, that especially goes to traumatize the person who are having such kind of traumas and mental disorders. They will be habituated to that kind of traumas, that if even they are not feeling mental stress, they will be uncomfortable, that something is wrong with me, because they are habituated. Pozo, victim of perpetual trauma. That Pozo was Pozo. No one can consider Pozo as especially victim, because Lucky is victim in everyone's sight and everyone's view, that Lucky is suffering a lot because of Pozo. And though Pozo is also victim of himself, that his own mind and actions are suffering him a lot, because it was Lucky whose problem was also hurting Pozo a lot. Iceberg theory of Freud in behavior of Vladimir, Estragon, and Godot. At the end, that theory comes to know that iceberg theory of Freud, that there were Vladimir, Estragon, and Godot. We are putting them here in the iceberg theory. Estragon is id, Vladimir is ego, and Godot is superego. That Estragon always says that I will, they beat me and all. Then he is totally unconscious of all kind of things, and Vladimir is somewhere conscious, and Godot is one who they never know. And in the Waiting for Godot, there are some dialogues that he will punish us, and as superego does, that superego is the moral kind of police that always punishes ego, and ego's the norms and the actions of ego. The psychologist Koch submits significant way of curing mental disorder at the core part of recovery is self-awareness. The way of recovery is concerned, clock pinpoints that the challenge of recovery is to re-establish ownership of your mind and body of yourself. That even the person who is traumatizing, that everybody will say that go to doctor and psychologist and psychiatrist and all kind of theories are there. But here Koch says that you yourself are the person who can cure yourself, and then you are the person who can change, no one else. These are my work cited. Thank you. Questions now?
Rinkal, how can you apply the psychoanalytical reading of Waiting for Godot in a present time?
Well, in the psychoanalytical analytical reading of Waiting for Godot is as relevant in the present times also, that even many of the people are still because trauma is not only for war and such kind of things. People always have some kind of disorders and mental instability in their mind, and they are always suffering from some problems, and though they are not able to come out, and even some of them are not even aware that they are facing they are having disorder or some kind of trauma, that the types of this kind of traumas are childhood trauma, and another mental traumas are there. Second one.
Rinkal, as you have mentioned in your presentation about psychoanalytic study of the play, that both the characters are being victimized by themselves only. In modern world also, we can see that many people are being victimized themselves. They make victim themselves. So, what can be the possible reason for that? Why people are behaving in that way?
Okay, that the person making victim himself of himself, that there are some kind of reason, that the iceberg theory, there is three kinds of prior process of thought, that id, ego and super ego. That person, the one part is totally unconscious, that it will drive another one, the ego, that what kind of somehow consciously the actions he is doing. And then superego works here, that it will treat the person, that whatever you, wherever you have did right or not, and by the circumstances of cultural and environmental and social kind of circumstances, the person will judge that am I right or not, and uh, rather than making it possible or change correct in a correct way. But he is not able to change, like Vladimir and Estragon, that they are facing some kind of problem, that nothing to be done and nothing comes and go on. They are knowing that nothing is there, but still they are not able to do whatever fruitful thing to do. That is the problem with many of the person in today's time also. Thank you.
By the time we have next one, let me, so we will feedback at the end. In between, let me share. One thing that you have to see, that when you watch in the mobile phone, what kind of fonts will be clearly visible, that you keep an eye on. If there are very short, small fonts, then you will find that it is difficult to read in this. So there are lots of spaces there, which can be used. You can make it bigger, and why so much of empty space is left. So this all fonts needs to be increased. So I think we discussed a rule of 5, rule of 7, if you remember, one sentence, 5 words, not more than 5 lines in a slide. So then it will be, because now people watch on mobile device, so smaller fonts will be difficult to see. Now here also there's lots of space in and around. This is too text heavy, so it can be converted into 2 slides. So there are still chances and for making this bigger one also. And also in this last slide, there were double spaces. Don't use double space, use single space. Then you will be able to increase the font. If you are, by default it was double space, then it will go out if you try to increase. So this also you may say that if we increase, then it was going out. So you have to see why it is going out. So this much text is out, so you will see the spacing. If you make it single, it will come. So some tools, if you try, you will get an answer also. But we want a bit larger font which can be read in mobile device. So don't make your PPT slides too text heavy. You can start.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Today I am going to deal with the title analysis of an artist of the floating world. Here is my personal information. Here is a point to be pondered which I have discussed in my presentation. First of all, about the novelist. An Artist of the Floating World is written by Kazuo Ishigaru. He is born in 8 November 1954. He is a Japanese British novelist, screenwriter, musician, short story writer. He is one of the most critically acclaimed and praised contemporary fiction author writing in English, having been awarded the 2017 Nobel Prize in Literature. Swedish Academy described Ishiguro as a writer who, in novels of great emotional force, has uncovered the abyss beneath our illusory sense of connection with the world. Ishiguro's famous novel, A Pale View of Hills, An Artist of the Floating World, The Remains of the Day, The Unconsoled, Never Let Me Go. Wrote many short stories, screenplays, short fiction, and lyrics. Now discuss about the novel. Novel is set in a post-World War II Japan and is narrated by Masuji Ono, an aging painter who looks back on his life and how he has lived it. He noticed how his once great reputation has faltered since the war and how attitudes towards him and his paintings have changed. His family ashamed for his paintings. About the title, An Artist of the Floating World is a reference to the floating world of a pre-war Japan. Easy meaning of floating world is a changing world. Floating world must be changing world. How artist faces some kind of trouble and problems in their life. This term harks back to Japan's pre-war world of artistic and social axis, and it is closely tied to the traditional art from ukiyo-e, which depicted the pleasure and excesses of the time. Eat, drink, and be merry. Seize the day, call what you may. The title is also metaphor for the fleeting, almost wafting nature of and the world before the war and how it all came crashing on fine day. The title sheds some light on the main character, Masuji Ono, who was an artist himself, and how his art as well as his position in the floating world contributed to his personal conflicts and reflection of the setting, the society, and a reflection of the protagonist's journey, along with a commentary commentary on the nature of art and by existence, life itself. What is another meaning of the floating word? Literary meaning of the word. Literally meaning of the word is a translation of Japanese word. A Japanese word is a ukiyo-e. What is ukiyo? Ukiyo means a fleeting, floating, changing, transient, not permanent word. Permanent world, not having permanent. During the Tokugawa and Edo period, 1650 to 1868, this art has developed. Ishiguro, most of painting for a nationalist, Masuji Ono, first drawn painting for army jawan for motivate to younger people to join army. But after the war, all people ashamed for his paintings. So we can say that we can say that a floating world is not permanent. Some paintings of ukiyo-e art. Now I conclude my presentation by quote by Ishiguro. When you are young, there are many things which appear dull and lifeless, but as you get older, you will find these are the very things that are most important to you. Here my work citation.
Riddhi, which meaning of the word floating is more significant in your point of view?
In my point of view, floating word meaning is a temporary time of people who changing in every transient moment.
Riddhi, when we consider the title of the play, can we say that Masuji Ono's condition is because of the changing mindsets of people or because of his way of drawing paintings other than ukiyo-e?
On that time, Masuji Ono I have answered in comment.
Hello everyone, good afternoon to all. Uh, this is my academic information. This is the points that I have included in my PPT. Today I am deal with the topic of 1984 written by George Orwell and how it's also relevant in our contemporary time. This is a brief information and introduction of author Eric Arthur Blair. He was a very famous writer and of English writer, and he was also very famous with his pen name George Orwell. His work is characterized by lucid prose, social criticism, opposition to totalitarianism, and support of democratic socialism. This is also his information of his personal information. And George Orwell's style is very direct and somewhat journalistic. He was writing in journalistic style, as he was not using so much metaphor and other things in his writing. As journalist writes in very point to point, he was also writing in like journalist. 1984, the significance of the title 1984 is in 1948 he complete his novel and published in 1949. So the 1984 is not a matter of choice for George Orwell, and the year 1984 itself then had no special significance for Orwell. It was meant to stand for somewhat date in the future, the after situation of after World War, and he might be thought about this type of situation may be possible after World War, and the government who rules. Totalitarianism, this is the main theme, and in his work 1984, this is the meaning of that I bring from Merriam-Webster dictionary. The political concept that is that the citizen should be totally subject to an absolute state authority. The word totalitarianism is the when the government is in power, but they are in power though they are they control everything. Nothing like a democracy. They control the entertainment think of people, what people wear, eat, and how they live their life. It is also in control of this type of government. They rule directly or indirectly, like in a way. The concept of totalitarianism is often associated with authoritarian regime. Not all authoritarian governments are necessarily to totalitarian. As Orwell put in, the world that applies to totalitarian regime, I quote, when one you were in the grip of the party, what you felt or did not feel, what you did or refrained from doing made literally no difference. Whatever happens, you vanished. You were lifted clear out of the stream of history. And this is also the quotation from another one. In our times, the conscience of mankind expressed itself in political terms. And this very short sentence by Lin Biao. He was a Chinese politician and military person of China. Political power is the power to oppress others. It is very relevant to this novel. And here I put 3 days ago news that is published in the Hindu, and about the situation of Nagaland nowadays. There is no opposition party in Nagaland, and NDPP and BJP government are synchronized their seats, and nowadays no one is ready to stand against the party. So it's we can see in totalitarianism government, the person the who is rule, they are the all of authority. But in democracy, the opposite party is a very important pillar of the democracy, because of if the party who is in a rule, if they are doing something wrong things, at that time the opposite party always work as a red light, as a red alarm for them. So this is the very bad news as such we are in. And we can say in our villages there is a one concept of sarpanch are not no many so many persons are not stand in the election, and some person those who are in as a sarpanch, they are just without any type of voting system, and that means the our government give them so very good name. It's like just a good, but not as such as a good. The Gokul Yugam. Now we have a Gokul Yu state. Surveillance society. This general description in Orwell's term of the prospect of political totalitarianism and its relation to technology leads by a number of well-defined steps directly to the death judges. The surveillance society and the government has a very well connection with each other. In the 1984, we have a concept of big brother who is always sight on people what they are doing in their life. And contemporary surveillance, we can say the CCTV camera is also a type of surveillance. But what in a modern time, the social media is also used as a surveillance. Sometimes someday we are saying we are searching on Amazon and Flipkart for something, and when we are going to our social media sites, those things that we are searching in our this type of marketing sites, it's reflect in our social media sites. So it's also a type of surveillance. And government also use surveillance by for their benefit. Some people are put some comment and post on social media. At that time, the person who are in a rule, if they don't like, they may disturb their peace and their democracy and freedom. And we have also shown the concept of in a documentary of Netflix, Social Dilemma. Language and propaganda, the both are very related to each other. Language as mind control. One of Orwell's most important message in 1984 is that language is of central importance to human thought because it structures and limits that idea that individuals are capable of formulating and expressing. This is the one paragraph that I have put from one article. Praise is not a matter of direct communication between the inner states of the relevance person, but involves the public negotiation of certain gestures and responses. So, praise is also one type of language. Generally, in 1984, we see the Big Brother wants love from people. In politics, every political leader wants praise from people. This is the meaning of propaganda. Ideas, facts, or allegations spreads deliberately to further one's cause or the damage an opposing cause. The propaganda is with the help happened with the help of language. When we are generally government and parties are using propaganda for their personal and benefit of their parties. In 1984, the party's linguistic ideology is paradoxically linguistic. It uses language to mask a hatred of language. It rewrites history to destroy man's history and heritage. The language is used for their personal purpose. In 1984, the session of 2 minute hatred session, and nowadays we have don't have this type of 2 minutes hatred session, but in the social media, sometimes we have for whole day some time of period we have hatred sessions by the people who are spreading this type of information. They don't might have what is the purpose behind this type of information. They think it is beneficial for ourselves, for our nation, for our religion, but the real propaganda is conducted by the political person, political party, and government. Those in rule, and the person who are in a rule, they are in power, and media and politics Media is considered as the fourth pillar of the democracy. But when media is involved with the party, involved with the power, at that time we can say this pillar is no meaning. This pillar is no meaning, and the what is the basic work of the media person is that they have to work for normal people and for the country, and first they have to work for the people and then after the for country. And but when media and politics are come together, it is very problematic thing for the democracy. Control, those who are in party, they have ability to control the people's mind. They spread this particular type of news on some days when when some elections are coming, some particular type of news are coming, and some particular types of news are in very spreading and erase the memory. If a person is doing again and again, then maybe one generation erase the real thing. What is the real thing that we have before one era or after half of decade, we have some person those who are a hero for us, but it's happened nowadays they are become a villain for us, and those who are villain, they are becoming now hero for us. So it's erase the memory. People are think it is okay, we are not in a trap, but actually what is happening, a person is in a trap of language and a propaganda. And also this type of totalitarianism government has tell to watch this type of movie and don't watch this type of movie. When the democracy is there, this is not the work of government, or not the work of, it's a person's own decision to watch or not to watch. And love these people and don't love these people. In some time of automatically hatreds are spreaded on social medias. It's, we think it's happening by something happening, but it is not just happening, it's happened by someone with a very idea behind that. There is the idea of someone use this language and don't use this type of languages. The language is also their barrier. If people are using this type of language and name, so that is they are from this side and they are not using this type of languages, so they are against the party, against the people, and against the nation even. The history, how to erase history by this this different type of perspective. World history, those country in is in power, they try to change history with their political power. In the artist of the floating world we are seeing, those we are thinking about Japan is the idea of America. So America is in power, so we can say this type of idea is for his political benefit. Time time and again political party and person tries to change history for their own benefits. If history is according to their benefit, they allowed to know about people, and it's not according to their benefit, they are changing in time and again. Written histories, in modern time, in older time we have written histories, letters, books, and other things, but in now modern time we have digitally written things. So it's very easy to remove digitally things on a digital platform. So it's very important, a digital platform is owned by a person who is not in influence of some government and other person. Study of history, power tries to teach history according to their benefit. If history is not in favor of them, they at that time maybe they don't remove it, but they try to hide it, and they want people are not reaching to their and this type of history and information. And this type of history are very much good for them in their personal benefit, though they are more providing this type of information and spreaded it much. Orwell's illusion places the newspeak world in the context of old speak literary values. As we are drawn into the 1984, the illusion suddenly revived the world and values of the past, a past which comes floating into our consciousness like a memories. In 1984, Winston knows about the history. So only a person who has some type of uncomfortableness with the government and other things. So that means those knows the history. They have problem. They do those people are don't know about these all things. They think everything is going on well and good. This is Ingo's party and is a socialist party, and I have to compare with the socialist party and democracy. In a socialist party, a one person is in a power and they are authority to control everything. In democracy, a person who is got a seat and in power with the on with election. The party is headed by figure as Big Brother, who is depicted as a cult life figure that is worshipped by party members. In a socialist party, in we can say in inner party, the governments try to suppress the people, those who are in inner party. They should be love the big brother. But in democracy we don't have this type of any suppression by government, but those people are like to worship the political person and those who are in power. So why this type of things in happen in 1984? There is a love. It's people must be and should be loved to big brother. They are from inner party. They are not tell to common people to love big brother. But in nowadays we can see in democracy a common people who are praise the person those who are in power, and they like to do it. It's a very bad thing and bad sign for a democracy. Why people are doing this type of thing? What is the mindset behind of this? As we are seeing, our cultural mindset is like that. We have the stories of god and king, those type of thing, and this is our past. But nowadays we are living in a democracy, so those people are we are living in a democracy, but our mindset is like we are under the rule of king, and so we are treated our leaders as they are king, not they are leader, those we have put with giving votes and other things. If we are seeing the what is the happening in the 1984, it is the general and common human psychology. If someone is treated by the language in this type of manner, the people is most reacted in a psychology. So that's I can say the psychology is a major concept of the history. We are very focused upon science, mathematics and other things, but psychology is very important part of our life. If those people are know about the psychology, so it's very hard to work and play to with their psychology. But in those people are not aware about the psychology of mind, psychology of language and other things. It's very easy to convey them in this another way and a beneficial way for the power. To reflect on the discourse Orwell's 1984 is to more than pay homage to a literary masterpiece. It's to reconsider and question ourselves, our society, our world, our past, our present, and above all, our future. Uh, this is the one quotation from George Orwell. I quote, who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. I unquote. This is my work cited. Thank you. And now I'm open for question and answer session.
Rajeshvariba, how does Orwell use language as a tool of control in 1984?
The language is, as I mentioned in my presentation, the language is a tool. We have a subjected language that we can say we are in influence of language. So we can say language is a tool that is with the help of this tool a person can control one or another person. So George Orwell reflect this type of element and aware the people, those who don't aware about it and those who are also aware about it, they also aware again. Thank you.
Rajeshwari, what is the extent level of this kind of totalitarianism affects people today, socially and politically?
I think people affected this type of totalitarianism in a social way. Uh, uh, in generally India, we have a very strong social system. So I can't say the social structure is not affect this type of government, and politics is also affected. The both is affected the totalitarianism government according to their mindset and their language and other things. Thank you.
By the time she is getting ready to share this, this one was by Riddhi. You used good slide template. The design of the slide template is very appropriate with the title that you are talking about. So it was good design template that you have selected. And for content, you have relied a lot on this lead chart article. So that you have to avoid citing study material sites. Already shared in that area. We'll close that one.
Okay, am I audible, sir? Should I start?
Yes, please.
Hello everyone. On this second day of SEM 2 presentation from the paper number 107, the 20th century literature, World War II to the end of the century. I choose the topic dystopian varieties. In this topic, I described so many varieties of dystopian society apart from only books and that works. Here are my personal information. Now, first, let's see what is dystopia. If we see the definition of dystopia, it means an imagined world or society in which people lead wretched, dehumanized, and fearful lives. Dystopia, being the original spelling for dystopia, first appeared in Lewis Henry book Utopia or Apollo's golden days in 1747. Dystopia was used as an antinomy
for Utopia by John Stuart Mill in one of his 1868 parliamentary speeches by adding the prefix dis to Utopia, re-imprinting the initial U as the prefix EU instead of OU. Dystopia eventually also became known as an antinomy of utopia. When we say utopia, everyone can easily understand what is utopia. Is it a positive side of dystopia? It is simply known that the best dystopian work is 1984 by George Orwell. Apart from dystopia described in the book, there are also other forms like games, animes, etc., which includes the mind of human being working in the shadow of dystopian society, like how everyone works dystopianly in other forms too. Let's say themes of dystopia, now how it works in other forms. The themes of dystopia depend on the specific work or fiction or image in society being depicted. However, some common themes are found in dystopian literature and media too. There is also a thing to notice that what we think of dystopia for someone else is utopia, as it described in this picture, your utopia, my dystopia. Now there are several themes of dystopia. Let me describe it in detail. Control. Now control is can be a main theme of the dystopia. Like dystopian society are often characterized by the government for ruling class having complete control over the lives of the citizen, limiting their freedom or thought and expression and using fear and violence to the maintain power. As my fellow presenter Rajeshvariba described, who controls the past controls the future, who controls the present controls the past. The theme of power also work in with the control power. Now the third one, environmental disaster. It's also a theme of dystopia. Like many dystopian works portrays a bleak and desolate world that has been devastated by environmental disaster such as pollution, natural disaster, earthquake, and like that. Now laws of individuality, as we see, they controlling ourselves. So we cannot be individual in the same place. Like dystopian societies often discourage or prohibited individuality and creativity, promoting conformity and obedience to authority. Now rebellion, despite there are so many control and power on all the people, but some characters rebel against them. That is also a theme of dystopia, which can be on the side of utopia. Technology. Now surveillance and technology. Dystopian society often use advanced technology and surveillance to monitor and control the citizen with little regard for privacy or personal autonomy. As we see in novel 1984, Big Brother is watching you. Now dystopia in video games. We all know that how video games work in our society. Every single child is playing video games, but there are some violative video games also which can be considered dystopia. As by the name we get to know that these games are called dystopian games, which include violence, but sometimes other factors are also responsible for ruling. Like Paper Please is a game created by indie game developer Lucas Pop, in which you have to check passport documents and who is crossing the border of the game's fictional country. And if you find fake paper or something that is something wrong in it, you can take a bribe and also advantage of that. As we see in the time of Soviet Union, soldiers are checking every people that they don't get anything in the society. Now, second game is a Costume Quest 2. It is also a sequel of Costume Quest. Is a video game developed by Double Fine Production, in which the main purpose is to stop a person named Dr. Orwell White, who is destroying Halloween, and the main character is one of the brothers named Ren and Rhinal. This game is based on a little theme of dystopia. Now dystopia in anime world. Now Attack on Titan is a very famous anime for dystopia. It's a Japanese dark fantasy anime, and it is adapted from a manga with the same name, Attack on Titan, written or created by Hajime Isayama, premiered in 2013. Genre of this anime are post-apocalyptic dark fantasy and action, and divided into four parts, means a four season of Attack on Titan are available. And in this Attack on Titan, central character of the story are Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. In this anime, people are trying to save their life from a giant titan who is always attacking humans. In this anime, there are several steps where we can see violence and attack, and there are nine titan in this series, and known as titan shifters. Now, the second anime, which describes dystopian theme, Dead Man Wonderland, is a Japanese manga series written by Jinsei Kataoka, originally run in 2011. In this anime, firstly start with a massive earthquake in Japan and destroy most of Tokyo part. Then it takes a 10-year leap and focuses on the ninth grade student named Ganta Igarashi and the only survival of the earthquake. He had no memories of this earthquake and lived his life normally. As we can see in the novel 1984, the main character, Winston Smith, he had a memory of his past, but after came under the eyes of a big brother, he also start to forget by torturing, by forcing his past memory too. Now, Dystopia in music 2112 is an album which includes songs which have themes of dystopian society and sing for people who lives in dystopian world. This song describe the theme of individuality, founding of individuality. This album is by Canadian rock band Rush, released in 1976 by Anthem Records. Then the second and most famous song by Queen band, We Will Rock You, is also a dystopian theme song by Queen, who sings this song lives in a hope that in the future everyone addresses and thinks the same. There are other songs also considered as dystopian songs, like In the Year 2525, As If to Nothing, Year Zero. Year Zero is also an album like 2112, which has so many songs which describe about people life and how it works. So here are my work citation. Thank you. Now can ask me questions.
Pooja, how does the portrayal of government and authority figures in a dystopian literature reflect our own society?
Reflect our own society means a reality of our society, which we can see that dystopian has a name in it, fiction. So fiction and reality also can be related with each other. As we see, there are government, is it okay I say a name about North Korea, which also seem as dystopian society. So we can see that how North Korea powered on their people and how they are not free to do anything. So this thing and government and authority reflects on society in that manner. Thank you.
Pooja, what is the importance of the dystopian theme in literature according to you?
Dystopian theme in literature. As we see that in our society or in literature, there are two factors, or we know that two types: good and evil, bad or good thing. So utopia is an autonomy of a dystopian society. So if theme of utopia is needed in the literature to know how society work, and as same as that, dystopian society also needed in society to know that how dystopian society work, and also help literature to know a different part of literature and our thinking too. Thank you.
Can I start, sir? Hello everyone. In evening session of second day of presentation, I am going to discuss about existentialism in waiting for Godot. These are my personal details. Here are the points which I will discuss. What is existentialism? History of existentialism, Soren Kierkegaard, existentialism in waiting for Godot, and conclusion. First, what is existentialism? Existentialism is a philosophical theory or approach which emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free and responsible agent determining their own development through the act of the will. It is associated with the 20th century. It is the view that humans define their own meaning in life and try to make rational decisions despite exciting in a irrational universe. Existentialism as a movement is used to describe those who refuse to belong to any school of thought, beliefs, or any system. History of existentialism. Existentialist type theme appear in early Buddhist and Christian writings. In 17th century, Blaise Pascal suggested that without a God, life would be meaningless, boring, and miserable, much as later existentialists believe. Although unlike them, Pascal showed this as a reason for the existence of a God. Existentialism in its currently recognizable form was inspired by the 19th or 20th century philosophers Soren Kierkegaard. Second is Friedrich Nietzsche is a German philosopher. Jean-Paul Sartre is a French philosopher, and he is most known for his notable work. Existentialism is humanism. Then Martin Heidegger, then Albert Camus is a most famous philosopher. His work Myth of Sisyphus is also known very well. Simone de Beauvoir is one of the feminist figure in the existentialism. Soren Kierkegaard is one of the most famous philosopher and also existentialist. He was born in Denmark in 1830. He stressed importance of the individuals and he's credited with creating the ideas of subjectivity and the leap of faith. He wrote critical text on organized religion, Christianity, morality, ethics, psychology, and the philosophy of religion. Here is his notable works: Existential Philosophy, The Absurd, Leap of Faith, Authenticity, and Existential Philosophy. So Soren Kierkegaard is known as the father of the existentialism. Existentialism in Waiting for Godot. Waiting for Godot is a play written by Samuel Beckett, published in September 1952. It is a tragic comedy divided into two acts. Waiting for Godot represent the conflict between religious or spiritual beliefs and living by an existential philosophy which asserts that it is up to the individual to discover the meaning of life through personal experience in the world. In the play, dialogues and actions are very important to understand what is the existentialism. In the play, Vladimir and Estragon put themselves into an absurd situation. They both doing nothing meaningful in the whole play. In the play, Estragon says nothing happened, nobody comes, nobody goes, it's away full. He knows that their situation is away full. They repeat the same action in the both acts. In the whole play, they do nothing to change their condition. Existentialism concept is also doing something and creating a purpose of life, but here they both doing nothing in the whole play. Here is a dialogue. Vladimir, well, what are we to do now? Estragon, let us not do anything at all. It is safer that away. Vladimir, let's wait and see what he has to say. Estragon, who do you mean? Vladimir, I mean Godot. Estragon, that is a good idea. Vladimir, we should wait till we know what our position now is. It is a suggest that they do not have a time to wait for someone. They have to make the move in their own personal life and existence before their time runs out. It also suggests that they are doing nothing. They are waiting for Godot, but they don't know who is Godot and is a male or female, is a waiting is hope and deals with the problem of existentialism. It presents the purposelessness of life. The structure of the play centers on the repetition of the habitual actions, and this repetition signifies the meaninglessness of life. The play shows that the individual must take action in life as they exist instead of the waiting. The play focuses on the question of human existence and the feeling that is no purpose or explained at the core of existence. It holds that as there is no God or any other transcendent force, the only way counter this is a nothingness is by embracing existence. So I conclude my presentation with quotation. According to Jean-Paul Sartre, man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. So the overall play, Waiting for Godot, is a explore the theme of existentialism by throughout the repetition of things, doing nothing in whole the play. So this is a most significant play of the existentialism. This is a work citation. Thank you. Now you can ask me question.
So, Payal, my question is that what is leap of faith, as you have mentioned in your slide of Soren Kierkegaard?
Leap of faith is something not believe believe by our decision, but believe forcefully in someone things and ideas. So this is a leap of faith.
So, Payal, as you say in your presentation, you describe characters. How do the characters of Vladimir and Estragon in the play paint the concept of existentialism?
uh, in the play, Vladimir and Estragon doing the same things again and again, and the existentialist question is that uh, why everyone doing the same things, and nothing purposeful and meaningful in their life. So this is a raise the question of the existentialism, how this is a play signifies the existentialism uh, in the world. Thank you.
Okay, in last two presentations, previous after Riddhi, Rajeshwari presented quite well. Sources were also cited well, and relevant examples were also given. Contemporary things were also connected. Pooja's presentation was good, but you need to answer this question. If there is this variety of dystopias are found, so what? Now, what do you mean by that? So, is it a symbol of societies converting into dystopia? Is it a sign for society moving towards future dystopia? That way, something you'll have to read. Otherwise, all these things in music or in popular culture, maybe just to be different or as a kind of a fashion, also, people might be trying out several things. So that and real dystopia represented in literature, that difference also is very important to be noticed.
Sir, can I start?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dabhi Nirali, and I am going to present here Dystopia versus Utopia. This is my personal introduction. This is the table of content. First of all, I would like to start my presentation with introduction of dystopia and utopia. Utopia is the ideal state of society where no distress prevails. A society there is full of prospect and opportunities, and no one is unhappy or hopeless there. Utopian society possesses almost prefer qualities for its citizens. In this society, money is abolished and citizens do the work they enjoy. In the other side, dystopia is the opposite of utopia, where everything is chaotic and disordered, and nothing is good there, and it is not desirable at all. Dystopia shows the declination of society. Dystopian society is humanized, filled with tyrannical governments, and faces environmental disaster. We can also say that dystopia and utopia both are equally two sides of a one coin. characteristic of dystopia. A dystopia is an imagined community or society what is dehumanizing and frightening. A dystopia is an antinomy of utopia, which is a perfect society. We can see that utopia is a perfect society and dystopia is a unperfect society. Characteristics: first, government control. In this dystopian society, the government plays a significant role in dystopian literature. Generally, there is either no government or an oppressive ruling body. Second one is survival. The oppressive power and destruction in dystopian world often leave the inhabitants to fend for themselves. Third one, technology control. The dystopian society is a reflect upon the technology. Advanced science and technology in dystopian works go beyond tools for improving everyday life. Technology is often depicted as a controlling, omnipresent forces, and it's often a fearing, mongering tactic. These are some examples of dystopian society. Uh, the first one is 1984. This is the novel by George Orwell. The world is under complete government control. The dystopia. This novel is portrayed the characteristic of totalitarianism and propaganda and limited freedoms. The second one is Brave New World. This novel is by Aldous Huxley in 1932, and also the movie adaptation of this novel uh, is a release in 1988. This novel is explores the danger of technology. The third one is the Hunger Games. This novel is by Susan Collins. Also, the film series based on this novel. The fictional world of Panem and future nation of the ruins of North America. Panem's totalitarian government. In this example is a portrait characteristic of government control, limited freedoms, and propaganda. Characteristic of utopia. The term utopia was coined by Sir Thomas More in his 1516 book Utopia, which was about an ideal society on a fictional Iceland. The characteristics. The first one, ecological utopia. The ecological utopia is a story present the world where climate and natural resources no longer face the dire crisis they do today. The second one is feminist utopia. The feminist utopia offer worlds where women and men are fully equal. The utopian society is also described that women and men both are the equal in the society. A third one, technological utopia. The technological utopia depicted advancement in computing, robotics, and transportation that are mere dreams in the present world. Examples of utopia. First one is the giver. This novel is written by Lois Lowry. The giver is American utopian science fiction. The movie adaptation of The Giver is also available, and it is directed by Philip Noyce. The characteristic of this novel is also portrayed. You the peace and equality both are the portrayed in this novel. A second one is Utopia. This novel is by Thomas More. This novel is also utopian characteristic portrait, religion, tolerance. The third one is Men Like God. This novel is written by H.G. Wells, and this novel is also a portrait in society. The difference is dystopia and utopia. Utopia is an imaginary society that is the perfect order. The other side, dystopia, is a society that is disoriented and chaotic. Utopia is guided by communism. The other side, dystopia, is under the control of tyrannical government that keep the citizens under constant surveillance. Citizens are free from fear in the dystopian society, but in the utopian society, the the citizens are not free, and they are lived in a horrible situation. In the utopian society is a systematic society. It is not controlled by constructed government system. In the other side, dystopia is governed by the tyrannical government. In a utopia, citizens preserve nature, but in the dystopian society, they cannot they are also destroyed the nature. Utopian fiction is set in a perfect world and improved version of real life. In the other side, dystopian novels drops its main character into a world where everything seems to have gone wrong at a macro level. This is the mistake by me in the title. Difference is both utopianism and dystopianism blur the boundary between fiction, philosophy, and political science. Utopia and dystopia are two opposite concepts that are used to describe different type of society. Dystopia reflect to an ideal society, while dystopia refers to an imaginary place where life is extremely bad. Utopian society have been proposed as a way to solve the problem of real world societies, while dystopia societies are often used in fiction as a warning about the danger of unchecked technology or government power. These are some example which are in real world. The example of dystopian society. First one is North Korea. The North Korea is a dystopian characteristic portrayed in the country that totalitarianism government, and the second one is a lack of basic freedom. Second one, Saudi Arabia. The Arabia is also portrayed as a characteristic of a dystopian society. lack of political freedom, and uh, gender difference, and inequality. The third one is China. In this also, I mention I portrayed some characteristics based on it. The first one is limited freedom. Second one is surveillance state, and the third one is lack of religion freedom, and the fourth one is human rights abuses. Some other examples of utopian society. The first one is Bhutan. Bhutan is also portrayed a characteristic of a utopian society, non-violence society, and gross national happiness. The second one is Denmark, the high levels of dangers equality and strong democracy, and third one is a high quality of life. This is my work citation.
Nirali, how has technology been portrayed in the Dystopia and Utopia vision of the future? And what role does it play in shaping the society?
Dystopia.
Yes, Payal. The dystopian society is a represent an idea and is a perfect society, but the utopian society is a represent as a perfect society, but the other side dystopia is a represent it as a unperfect and imperfect society.
Nirali, as you described in your presentation, differences between dystopian society and utopian society, but can a society be both dystopian and utopian at the same time or no?
Yes, the dystopian and utopian both the society are present at the same time, because in many countries they also uh, lived in this both combined society, so they can live easily.
Share your PPT again. I'm sharing here. Can you play that? Next slide. Next. Previous one, what is the difference here? Utopia is the ideal state of society, where there is no distress, prospects, opportunities, there is, no one is unhappy. That is this one, utopia. And dystopia is the opposite, chaotic, disorder. Yes, that is the next. 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 This utopia, this previous one. This example, like giver, if you will see, will not be considered as utopic as such. That you check again. Okay. This one. Then next. Now, so dystopia, I think you have made a mistake.
Yes, sir.
in the
Title.
Dystopia and utopia,
Yes.
but titles are inverted. So before you upload this, you make these changes.
Yes.
In the final version. Okay. This next one. No, next. So if you this all the text that you take, you have to cross verify. So when you read about the giver, it will say that at first it appears to be utopia, but it is revealed to be dystopian as the story progresses. That's how they describe this novel, which is you have used film poster. Novel cover is different than the film poster. So if you write about novel, then try to get novels covered. If you say film adaptation, then film poster. Yes. Please.
Hello everyone, my name is Mansi Gujadiya. Today I will present 1984 by George Orwell, A Tale of Dystopian Society. Here is my personal information. Today I will discuss about introduction of novel, meaning of dystopia, dystopian elements of 1984, a social class in novel, other example of dystopian literature. Today's example related to dystopia, Leila web series, a comparison between 1984 and Animal Farm. First, introduction of novel. This novel was written by English author George Orwell and published in 1949. This novel is a warning against totalitarianism. Sealing dystopia made a deep impression on readers, and his idea entered mainstream culture in a way achieved by very few books. The book's title and many of its concept, such as a Big Brother and thought police, and instantly recognized and understood after as by words of modern social and political issues. Meaning of dystopia. According to Oxford University, an imagined state or society in which there is a great suffering or injustice, typically one that is a totally real Rian or post-apocalypse. In environmental disaster is a backdrop to the modern dystopia. Dystopian element of 1984. In this novel, people don't have right to ask a question in their own government. If anyone does that's a offense. The police and the military were scrutinizing all the time. The people can't go out without government permission. They never make a conversation with anyone, even then their co-worker. They don't have the rights to love and had sex. They cannot decide anything on their own because the big brother is watching you. Here I mention a social class in this novel 1984. Other example of dystopian literature, like The Handmaid's Tale, written by Margaret Atwood, Fahrenheit 451 by Roe Bradbury, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, Leila, novel written by Prayag Akbar. Uh, Now we can see today's example of dystopia, like cameras everywhere you go, text and call records being stored, internet searching being tracked, people being persecuted for their belief, the caste system in India, the Taliban controlled Afghanistan, China's social credit system. North Korea is often cited as an example of dystopian society, where the government exercises total control over every citizen's lives. Now I will discuss about Leela web series. Leela is an Indian Hindi language dystopian drama web series directed by Deepa Mehta, Shankar Raman, and Pawan Kumar. This series based on the 2017 eponymous novel Leela by Prayag Akbar. Leila follow the story of Shalini, who tries to find her missing daughter in a totalitarian regime in the near future. It stars Huma Qureshi, Siddharth, Rahul Khanna, Sanjay Suri, and Arif Zakaria. This series uh, is a 6 episode. In this series, they have a 6 episode premiere on 14 July 2009 on Netflix. Now I will compare between two novels of George Orwell, 1984 and Animal Farm. 1984. This novel is known as a modern dystopia. Novel has critique the politics of last century. Totalitarian regime of Big Brother exploit and individual character. This novel is about the predictions, the situation, and the life of a person who is cruelty, browbeaten, and brainwashed in the end in the favor of a dictatorship. In the other side, Animal Farm is regarding as a political dystopias. This novel describe oppression and cruelty and is created in animals lives, which also make it allegorical dystopian work with a full of satire. Here, totalitarianism play its vital role in making animal society dystopia. Orwell shows the totalitarian nature of Stalin in form of his animal character. Napoleon and shows how he exploit the whole society to gain power. Napoleon show how get control and become a direct dictator. In a conclusion, we can say that in a conclusion, I put a one quote from original novel: "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." Here is my work citation. Now you can ask a question.
Mansi. Which characteristic or themes match with animal farm with dystopia?
Basically, dystopian characteristic based on controlling a society. In a animal farm, some character are control society in their own perspective.
This is the question you asked. This one.
Mansi, as you mentioned in the presentation, how has the concept of Big Brother in 1884?
1984, main concept of a big brother is like a big brother is watching everything. You can do anything in a, in a novel, people do anything that a big brother is watching and controlling the whole society. Thank you.
Just a minute. Don't share that right now. I'm sharing the screen. In the last presentation, as we have suggested a couple of times earlier also, that this citations from research gate and other things, which is the problem. So this is the citation that in the morning also I suggested how you can find the originally published one. ResearchGate, Academia, they are not original publishers. They just give account like Instagram, Facebook. So people can open the account and upload everything. So here you have to reach to the original one. So when you see this article, you have to, even in this article, like they have already posted. So here is when you download this full PDF, you can see this. Then this uploader has already put where it is originally published, name of the journal. So this is what is to be cited. Sometimes they don't give. Today morning we discussed one case where it is not given. So how to find? It was a Nigerian journal in Arabic language. So you can watch that video and see that how. So there are different cases in which you have to try variety of things. So this journal. Now the question comes is that whether it will be good or not. This journal also will be of quality or not, because you are citing. Before that you have to ascertain whether my source is of quality or not. So they are writing UGC approved journal. So it seems to be on a face value a good journal because it is approved by UGC. But the another criteria you can apply is that are they following this method of citation which we are telling you time and again, so that your work can be considered as qualitative. Why we do this? Because if you cite good source, your work will be qualitative. Normally you are gathering from variety of things. So if you are gathering from good places, it will be good. પેલા મધમાખીઓ સારા ફ્લાવર પાસે ગઈ હોય તો મધ સારું, પણ ખરાબ ફ્લાવરમાં ગઈ હોય તો મધ પણ ખરાબ. સો એ તમે ક્યાં ગયા છો લેવા તેનાથી ખ્યાલ આવે તમારા પ્રેઝન્ટેશનની ક્વોલિટી કેવી હશે. ભાગ્યે થોડું ઘણું તમે એડ કર્યું, બે ચાર લોકો કદાચ થોડું એડ કરે, નહીં તો what is available that only is given. So, what are the sources which you have referred, and how you are putting those sources? So, when you go down, you find this kind of list. Now you can also tell, okay, this is not a good article, but it is style also the person don't know. MLS style. This is not the right way to put websites. And then the websites are also of not a good quality, which we constantly tell. So even if it is in a good journal published, then also the reviewer, or the people when they are analyzing, they will say that well, it is not one-sided. That will be published, but it is not good. So that way, so you don't do this next time because you will be published and you will be very happy because my article is published and you will share everywhere in social media. But somebody will open and say, oh, this is what you have published. What is it to be happy in this? So that's what happens. If you don't listen carefully and don't put it into practice, then such things might happen and there is no value of the writer or of the journal also. Even if it is UGC listed or whatever it is, editors have not worked properly. This is the work of editors. They have to tell the writer that change this and give me in proper style format. We follow APA or MLA, whatever they follow. They have to tell and then only it is published. Otherwise, the entire name of the journal will be very bad name. People will say that this is not a qualitative journal. So when people come to us in PhD and other thing and they put the thing, they say that well, there are these parameters you have to keep in mind, and if it is passing, then it is a good quality, or it is not. Then you say this has done, that has done, it is UGC approved, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What are those quality parameters? That is very important. That is what we keep on telling why it is important. Otherwise, the same result will be there if you are not understanding the thing. Maybe this teacher may have an excuse that nobody told us ever. They may have other than excuse also. તમને તો ક્યારે કોઈ કહ્યું જ નહીં કે આવું બધું કરવાનું હોય તો તમે તેવું બહાનું નહીં આપી શકો. આપણે તો દર સેમેસ્ટરમાં રોજ આવું કહેતા. ટાઇટલ આમ લખવાનું ને સાઇટેશન આમ સિંગડાને પૂછ્યું એ રોજ મરડતા કે ટાઇટલ કેવું હોય ને સાઇટેશન કેવું હોય તો આપણે કેટલું સુધારો કરતા and that all depends. Then your quality will be automatically better also. Okay, you can share this is the last one now.
Hello everyone. On the second day of presentation of semester 2, I deal with the topic Role of Technology in the Novel 1984. Here is my personal information, table of contents. So first we are talking about author George Orwell. George Orwell was the pseudonym of Eric Arthur Blair. He was born in Motihari, Bengal, India in 1903. Orwell was a British journalist and author who wrote two of the most famous novels of the 20th century, Animal Farm and 1984. He is famous for his polemical journalism and his criticism of totalitarianism. He was died on 21 January 1915 in London. Introduction of novel 1984. 1984 is a dystopian social science fiction novel and it was published on 8 June 1949. Dystopian literature dystopian is a genre of literature in which story is based on imagined world where life is extremely hard because of terror and oppression of government or ruler party. The novel tells the story of Winston Smith, who lives in Oceania, where he is governed by constant surveillance. There is a police force called the Thought Police and constant reminders on posters that Big Brother is watching you. The primary theme of 1984 is to warn readers of the dangers of totalitarianism. World of Oceania. Oceania is a fictional state in the novel. In Oceania, government spying on citizens 24 hours every day. Oceania didn't allow privacy. Citizens that lived in Oceania all had telescreens in their house, even their working place. Everything they did, everything they discussed and talked about were all being monitored by the party. The quote, Big Brother is watching you in 1984 is the best proof of the massive surveillance of the party. So when we study Winston Smith, when he writes his own diary, he is always afraid of thought police and especially telescreen, which is in his home. There are four important ministry in Oceania: Ministry of Truth, which manages the media, entertainment, and art. Ministry of Peace is working for war. The Ministry of Love is the managed judiciary system of Oceania, and Ministry of Plenty manages the economical condition of Oceania. So, telescreen. In the novel, there is a technical device called the telescreen, very much like our own television. It is used for spreading propaganda. It is impossible to turn off, and the screen also watches its viewers. Propaganda that was used by party in 1984 was war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. The quote was the proof of the success of the party. Citizens of Oceania believe that 2 plus 2 makes 5, which again shows the success of the party who's spreading propaganda and brainwash its own citizens. So here are some real world example of dystopian society. First, we talk about China. Its Chinese government believe in Marxism and Leninism. China deployed propaganda to control on its citizens' mind. Most famous propaganda in China was the Little Red Book, which collected many mind control information which came from Mao Zedong, the leader of China, before 1976. And in those times, people are forced to carry this book, and people who didn't carry this book, they are considered as irrespectful to Mao Zedong and also punished by government. Here is a quote in the is that book: "To read too many books is harmful." So Mao's purpose to say the words can echoes the quotes in 1984. Ignorance is strength. Both of them discourage people to gain knowledge or to have the ability to recognize the truth. So here are another example. According to Edward Snowden, Central Intelligence Agency of America, the National Security Agency routinely lies in response to congressional inquiries about the scope of surveillance in America. This court had shown that nowadays America's National Security Agency, a group of people that used to protect its citizens and also privacy, had misused technology as a tool that illegally do surveillance over citizens. So after this incident, NSA says that we are doing this for security of our nation, and we only overtapping terrorist activity. But in reality, it's also harmful for citizens of America. North Korea is also similar to 1984, where citizens live under the thousand of false information that the government intended to brainwash their people. North Koreans believe that Kim Jong II is God who had a supernatural birth. And they also believe that Kim Jong was born on scariest mountain, and when he was born, season had changed winter to spring, and there is a star formed in the sky and brighten up whole the sky. So these are the misinformation in our real world is spreading through the uh, ruler party or government of country. In conclusion, I would like to quote by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, a Lebanese American essayist, The difference between technology and slavery is that slaves are fully aware that they are not free. So in our time, we believe that technology is it's also good and it's helpful for our life, but sometimes it's harmful for our privacy, and we have to need we need to improve that our technology and privacy related questions. Here are my work citation. Now, if you have a question, then ask me.
Insia, as you mentioned that technology has taken privacy of humans. So what should we do about this issue?
Uh, Technology is now our part of life. It's very useful to us, but sometimes is harmful. So we can set some rules. Government set some strict rules about this. No one has a right to leak anyone else privacy or private information, and we can uh, take step towards it. And it's helpful and it's need of our society.
Which characteristic consider as dystopian society? Example with China and North Korea.
So, characteristics of dystopian society is that government or ruler party try to control mind of people, life of people, and I give example that China is believe in Marxism, and I mentioned one book. They try to thought. They try to control the mind of people, and North Korea is also spreading hatred and very misinformation through the technology. And yes, this is, thank you.
Okay, so that was the last one for the day. And this quote by Taleb, Nassim Taleb, is very interesting, but you have to cite the source. That also, Snowden also, those were not cited. But that is good, that difference between slavery and technology, how in slavery people are aware that we are slaves, whereas in technology normally people are not aware that they are under surveillance, they are being observed, and happily people get involved with those things also. We can give this example of live streaming also. Instead of allowing people whether to see, we ask them to see us. Yeah, so that also is that way that what you are doing, how you expose yourself to the world. So people are not telling you that you should make it live, but they beautify the things in such a way that people readily do that. So that is how the technology operates, that we actively gets involved in that, and people don't have to force us to do the similar kind of thing. So that way Taleb is a very interesting thinker of today's time. Also his many of his works, interviews, quotes are quite often cited by people. Okay, so with this we end today's session, and tomorrow morning time you will have to